Good afternoon, and welcome to the very first episode of the Christ Project, the Divine Plan. I am so excited. My name is Kintu, and I will be the host of this new podcast where we're getting to the truth of what Jesus really taught. He taught us how to manifest. He taught us how to manifest. And somewhere along the way, some human beings got a little misguided and created something that called a church with all sorts of dogmatic beliefs, which kind of messed up the whole thing. I guess for a good reason, because that's the way we got here. But we're going to be talking about the real thing, and that's called the Christ Project. And this idea of the Christ Project comes out of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, and it was brought into life into current conversation by Teilhard de Chardin, and it's most recently been brought out. And what I've been studying is this wonderful book called "The New Spiritual Exercises in the Spirit of Pierre Teilhard de Chardin." This is the core of what we'll be talking about in this podcast. For a while, we're going to be talking about what these exercises are about, and we're going to be talking about how we actually apply these exercises in our day-to-day life so that we can manifest the dreams and the future into reality. What people don't really realize until somebody threw some flies in the ointment and created some kind of dogmatic belief system is that Jesus came, love incarnate, became man, God became man, love became man, to teach us how to manifest, to teach us how to open our hearts, quiet our minds, and live in deep connection with the universe, because that's who we are. We are that. We are that Christ. I am the Christ. You are that Christ. And when you wake up to the truth of who we are and what we are, the world becomes magically exciting. And just think today. Feel today. Don't think about it. I mean, if you think about today, you can get yourself into a lot of upsetness. I mean, if you turn on the news and you think about it and you look at all of the just atrocities that are happening around the world, everywhere that you look, but here's the thing. They're imploding. If you'll notice, they're beginning to shrink, starting in the United States. In 2016, a dark cloud came into power, a power of evil, and has really disrupted our country. And you know what? We're exhausted with that mean, cruel, hateful conversation. We're excited about a new leader, a new generation of leaders in our new president, Kamala Harris. I mean, the fact that she's a woman, a black woman, leading the world in the most powerful is going to become a beacon of light for everyone to enjoy. And as the United States steps back in as being a beacon of hope, a beacon of light, and a demonstration to the world of what it means to care about your people first, to serve as a place of a public servant, to be a demonstration of what you can change in the world by serving others, loving others, and remembering God, as Ram Dass says. There are only three things we have to do, and they so align with the Christ Project. And that is to serve others, serve everyone, love everyone, and remember God. I didn't say love everybody. That's not possible, to love every human being, but we can love the being. We can love the light, because even in the darkest of people, there is some dim light. And I have some prayer for Donald Trump that something could rekindle that little ember of light that's got to still be in there, or he wouldn't be alive before he dies, to wake him up. Wouldn't that be exciting? I'd much rather see a kind of a Saul to Paul transformation than what I'm watching right now. And what I'm seeing right now is just really pathetic. It's really sad to see a human being so so desperate, so unloved that they just do such horrible things, and they're dangerous. Don't get any. Don't be. I mean, what's happening to the people in Springfield is just unimaginable, considering all the players involved. But if you step back from it for a little bit and not get too caught up in the drama, you can begin to look at some of the biblical epics, the biblical messages in all of the players. And it all begins, and you get, and when I do that, I can let go of it and not be so tangled up in the drama. And I can step back and say, oh, this is the divine plan. This is all part of the project. You know, the Christ project encompasses all of the universe, all of life, and the evolution of life, most especially the evolution of human beings. Because human beings are the manifestation of love made human, called the Christ. I am the Christ. And Jesus, who walked the earth 2,000 years ago, came as a special messenger. He didn't have anything, any more superpowers than me or you. You know, it was the church that put him on some kind of pedestal and made him more divine than human. That is not the point. The whole point was that the divine came in as a human to enjoy its creation and to try to get us to enjoy its creation. But if you think about it, we humans have been really kind of ungrateful for 2,000 years. All we've done is complain about it. You know, and we've complained not enough this, not enough that. When actually, if you just step back, it's quite beautiful. And want to share it with others. We've gotten so wrapped up in our own sort of selfishness and our own isolation that we've forgotten that we're all part of one big heart. We're all connected. That's what the message is inside the Christ Project. We are all the universe itself. I'm the universe. You're the universe. We're the universe. So on this show, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world today. Not from a place of I'm right and they're wrong, but from a place of how does all of the things happening in the world right now fit into the divine plan for the evolution of humanity? And I am feeling it, and I know you are too, and because I'm on, is that with virtual and AI and virtual space, we are all living in a much different level of consciousness than we were even 12 months ago. I know that I am. And the more I practice meditation, the more I'm aware of it, the more I'm drawn to it. It's not like I'm going to meditate to get somewhere. I'm going to meditate because my heart is longing for the connection with the divine. Because when I'm in that connection with the divine, I know I'm participating. I have a role in the Christ Project, which is the evolution of human beings into a higher level of consciousness called Christ consciousness. You see. So this is the first episode of my podcast, and I've got a new mastermind coming out. It's free. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. It's all the same principles, and you can go right over to our website, www.diamondmindacademy, and you can look at the program, and it's just called the Christ Project. And you're welcome to sign up and register for the mastermind, and it's free. We do ask for a donation to our nonprofit, the Diamond Mind Academy, which is all in line with sharing the gifts of the universe with each other. So we decided to make it free and leave it up to you to what you want, what you feel right paying for it. So this is a whole new chapter in my life, is going out and beginning to share what I have experienced in as I become aware that I am a co-participant. I'm an active co-creator with the universe in this thing called the Christ Project. And so are you. And the purpose of this program is to bring people on here to talk about it so that we can raise the awareness to more and more people. But I got to tell you, it's a really exciting and fun place to live your life. That's it. It's just a very, 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 very exciting place to live your life. I want to go to the book that we're using here, the New Spiritual, and I want to just read one piece here about according to Telyard, we humans are currently at the tip of the arrow that reveals the direction of trajectory of evolution. That arrow tells us that God wants humans to aim toward even higher levels of complexity and consciousness. Now, to the ego mind, it doesn't want anything else on display. But to the conscious aware mind, it's like infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities. And as we become more and more aware of these infinite possibilities and the power we have within us, that superpower of manifestation that Jesus was teaching us, that got taken away from us by the Roman Catholic Church with their silly creeds. God knows how much damage that's done to people in the world, and still doing damage. Still doing damage. I mean, if you go look at the roots of racism in the United States, to go back to the Roman Catholic Church. If you want to know where all the homophobia and the curse comes from in Africa, go back to the Church of England. These dogmatic belief structures with these creeds have created some really cruel power structures in certain countries. And they're trying to create, and Donald Trump is trying to create that here. I am certainly that, and that's why he's part of the project, but he's not going to be the winner of the project. The ultimate goal is for us to live here in this country and enjoy life peacefully and in harmony and become more of an ambassadorial planet in the universe. From what I've been reading from the scientists and understanding of things, we're a relatively new experiment, planet Earth. And that's exciting. And that is the Christ Project. The Christ Project is this new experiment that started 14 billion years ago. And here we are at the very final exciting point, that still point of transformation, when we're going to all shift over to a higher level of consciousness as these horrible, mean, cruel, negative entities, humans, implode and shrink. You know, I've recently been watching how as Donald Trump has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller as in his own sense of being value. I have watched as Kamala Harris and her followers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. They are infinite in their love. And that's why I'm so sure that we're going to win and we're going to prevail in November, because the darkness that prevails inside of Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans is absolutely no threat to the power of God, to the power of to creation. I mean, there have been horrible, mean dictators like him throughout the centuries, but we've come to the point, we've come to the tipping point. And isn't it nice? We have come to the tipping point. And isn't that nice? 2025, this planet in 2025 will not look like anything it looks like today. It will feel good to live here. We're tired of being afraid of what might happen next, who might hurt somebody else. People all over the world, no one should be living in fear. And people are living in fear everywhere you go. Whether you're talking about Ukraine and Russia itself, the Russian people are not the enemy. No one is actually the enemy, but the leaders are mean and cruel. And everyone suffers from that. And we're going to find resolution in the Middle East. We're already beginning to feel cracks in the heart all over the world. And it's a really, really exciting place to be right now, I think. And I'm excited to be here today on the first day, just to give you some sense of what we're going to be talking about, introduce myself to you. You've never met me before. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm a manifesting master, and my mission is to wake people up. Is to really create a world. Is to live the Christ Project, and that's when I discovered this book, and I realized I'm already living this mission. I mean, the biggest change in my life happened 3 years ago when I listened to my intuition and against all rational thinking, flew to Nairobi, Kenya, to deliver a cell phone to a man in the desert, in a refugee camp in the desert with nothing. And it was a call to go help him. And when I got there and met him, his name is Abba. He's now my business partner and my dearest friends. When I got there and saw him, looked him in the eye, I just cried. I said, Daddy, I'm home, brother. Brother, I am home. In some ways, I felt a little bit like the prodigal child that had come home. But I was there in Africa, in Nairobi, in November, 3 years ago. It changed my life. And this is the thing. And then I came back and I began to commit to, I didn't know what in the world I was doing, what I had committed to. I had just committed my life to helping a amazing Ugandan man living in the desert. Just brought him back to life and committed the rest of my life to helping him and others like him, largely the LGBT community, but not just LGBTQ. A lot of people suffer. You don't have to be part of the LGBT. You don't have to be gay to suffer from the Anti-Homosexuality Act of 2023 by the Ugandan government. Let me tell you who's really suffering and who's really in pain. And those are the mothers and the fathers. My heart aches for the mothers and fathers. As I've gotten to know these people and hear their stories, these beautiful men and women, and they tell me of the things that their parents tried to do to them, because you see, they're considered a curse because of the Anglican Church telling them, the early European Christians telling them that gay people are curses. They believe that, and they try to kill their children. And they pass laws that says that if you're gay, you can be killed. And it comes out of that old European colonization. And what the bigger picture is with the Christ Project for me, and what I began to see is that this is a calling for me to help my African brothers and sisters in getting their power back that was taken from them by the white man in colonization. It's bigger than me just bringing people to the United States. It's what I do. It's the physical thing I do on the ground. Is I our mission, the Diamond Mine Academy, which is a 501c3. If you want to give us a donation, we're very happy to get one. But the thing is that our mission is to safely resettle East African refugees, marginalized, vulnerable and marginalized East African refugees to the United States. And because of the anti-homosexuality bill passed in 2023 in Uganda, a large part of that population is living in exile, and no country wants them. The Kenyan government came out last year and said they're no longer going to accept LGBTQ refugees in their country. So you've got a lot of people, you've got all these Ugandans stuck in Nairobi in a country that doesn't want them, and if they catch them, they'll deport them back to Uganda, where they've been reported either going to prison, and in some cases just not appearing. That's kind of rude. Somebody honking their horn in the middle of the day when I'm trying to talk in my new podcast, but it quieted down. But the Christ Project is all of this, and we're going to be talking about this every single week. We're going to be bringing on some people on here who have had a lot of experience in both teaching this and manifesting about manifestation and the truth about that. It's not some woo-woo thing out there that it's the most real thing there is. There is nothing more real than the Christ Project and the divine plan. There is nothing more phony than the Christian church. I don't care how you cut it. I love the people in the church. I was an Episcopalian for 45 years, and before that I was a Presbyterian, and I was born and baptized in the Methodist. So I have a long history of being a Christian, being a part of a dogmatic Christian belief structure. And I can tell you, in all those years, I never saw anything that remotely like the Christ Project, which is kind of a shame, because the Christ Project is what Jesus of Nazareth was here to inform us about. So that's the good news. I'm here to inform you of the truth of what Jesus was here for. And you don't have to be Christian. You don't have to be anything. You know, it's like Buddha. They're all enlightened people, human beings, who came as messengers from the universe, from God, the Creator, to help us wake up to the truth. And some have found that through the teachings of Buddha. Some find that through the teachings of the Tao. Some find that there's all sorts of Indian spiritual faiths that people learn from. There are lots of avenues to finding the truth. I just happen to be one that follows the teachings of Jesus because it's just been my whole life. And I have to tell you that from the last 5 years I was an Episcopalian, I kept saying, why do y'all keep having that? I drove them crazy because I did not understand why we had the creed. When everything I study tells me to let go of all beliefs, let go of all opinions, let go of all judgments, empty the mind, be still. I don't care if you're talking Buddhist, Christian. And then here they feed you a litany of belief structures just before you take the Holy Eucharist, as if you've got to go through that to get to that. And I say, take that out of the service. If y'all want to believe that, that's fine, but it shouldn't be part of our service. But they're not moving that out of there, because that's how they get people in the pews. If you believe what we believe, we want you in our church. If you don't believe it, we don't want you. I know firsthand. So what I'm trying to say is, let go of, I'm asking you to let go of your beliefs about Christianity. Because what most of you know about Christianity is not real. It's not the truth. And that's what I'm here to help you understand. Because when you understand the truth of the Christ Project, life gets really exciting and fun. So we're going to be going through real life experiences in this podcast about how our lives are evolving and changing and transforming under this umbrella of something called the Christ Project, which has been discussed for hundreds of years by, St. Ignatius for one, and then later by Teilhard de Chardin, and then most recently in this book by Lewis M. Savory. So it's the evolution of man and where we are on this whole thing with and how we message the project, how we message the divine plan. And the good news I have for all of you is you're already participating in it. Different levels of awareness, but you're already participating in the Christ project. It's like manifesting. You are already manifesting. Oh, I don't know how to manifest. Manifesting, that sounds like a bunch of woo-woo stuff. If you're breathing, you're manifesting. It's whether you're consciously or unconsciously doing it. Just before we close here, I want to just end with the principles of the law of attraction, which is the underpinning of the Christ project, and it's how energy works. And that says how the power of the human mind, How do you think the pyramids were built? With the power of the human mind. Just think about that. There's no explanation for how they built the pyramid, because they didn't have any of the equipment necessary to really build that the way it was, and such precision. I mean, the architecture of the pyramids is divinely orchestrated. That is a living example of the Christ project. We have that same power within us. We have that magic to create. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful when you know about it? And in the last couple of years, as I begin to play in this arena of the fifth dimension, as some people call it, they call it the quantum field, the kingdom of heaven. It's all about living in Christ consciousness in that higher level of energy known as unconditional love. That is the creative force of the universe, and we are made of that. That's who we are. And that's what the Christ project is going from a place of not being aware of it to being aware of it. Jesus came to make us aware of it. And it's taken almost 2,000 years to get to where we are today. But if you're living on the planet today and you're listening to me right now, let me tell you something. You are living in some of the most exciting times in the history of humankind. Truly, the most exciting time in the history of humankind. You are living in that right now. So every week, we're going to be here on Fridays at 11 o'clock to talk to guests and have a program about where we all are inside this great divine plan called the Christ Project. And I welcome you to come here. If you go to our website at www.diamondmind.com, www.diamondmind.org, you can find a way to sign up for our free mastermind, the Christ Project Mastermind. It's free. You just need to register, and we ask a small contribution to our 501c3, the Diamond Mind Academy, which as you begin to understand the Christ Project and you understand the world as it works, we actually don't own anything. It's all about letting go of our attachment, because the truth is, if you think that money in your bank account belongs to you, when your body goes, you try to take it with you. You're going to leave it to somebody, but it ain't yours. And as soon as we begin to look at our money and the material world as stewards, gifts of God, gifts of the universe, we are stewards of these things, stewards of this planet, stewards of each other. We can hold each other in that space of unconditional love, and we can move this planet forward so that we can all live in a place of peace and prosperity in 2025. Wouldn't that be wonderful? To wake up and you just don't hear the news that somebody has been killed. But it's just, it's time for change. It's time, as Kamala Harris, to turn the page. And let's move forward with a whole new energy, a whole new love energy Let's run the world on love instead of fear. That's really the simplest way to put it. The Christ Project is a project to teach us how to live and be driven from a place of love instead of fear. Getting out of shadow and into the light. So if you join me today, I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I'm trying to help people understand what it is I'm doing. I'm not sure what I'm doing, quite frankly. But I do know what I'm doing. That's not true. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't always know what I'm going to do in the next 2 minutes, but I know what I'm doing right now. And I'm welcoming you to my new podcast, my new show, and also inviting you to join up for my new mastermind that's starting on October 7th for 90 days, and that's free. And to get a hold of that, just go back over to our website, www.diamondmindacademy.org, and register right there. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it.